Hello and welcome to Math Plus Everything Journey. Today we are going to look at how to complete the square. How are we going to complete the square? All right, so here we have completing the square. Now we have steps. We have 1, 2, and 3 steps we're going to work with today. So I put these here so that if you're doing this problem, if you have a problem to complete the square and you have no idea what to do, then you could follow the steps. So we're going to start with step 1, move the constant to one side. What does that mean? Here we go. We have x squared minus 10x minus 15 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation. In a quadratic equation, you know that your x squared is your a, your x your b, and your constant your c. And I'm going to label it like that. So let's look at it. X squared minus 10x plus 15 is equal to 0. So our first step, step 1 said, move the constant to one side. We're going to rearrange these. So here we have a minus 15. When you go over to the equal sign, it becomes positive. So we're going to use the inverse, or you could say the opposite. So the inverse of minus is plus, and we have 15. So we are going to add 15 to both sides of the equation. Okay, so let's go ahead now and rewrite. So I have my x squared minus 10x. Now we have a positive 15 and a negative 15. That cancels out. That's 0. So now we have our equal sign and 15. I left this area here blank for a reason. Now we're going to go to step 2. What does step 2 said? We're going to add b times half. We're going to half b. What is b? B is 10. We're going to half b, and after we half b, then we square it. We're going to do it to both sides. I'm going to do this a little different just because I want you guys, especially the 8th graders or the students in high school, and from 8th graders, I should say, to high school, they don't understand that when you have something on one side of an equation, you have to do to both sides. So I'm going to do it a little bit different. So now we have our b squared. We got to add our b, and we're going to divide it by 2, and then we square it. And it's said to do to both sides. I am going to do this, and it's like b, half it, then I square. You don't have to do it like this. You could just do 1, but if you remember after you half your b and square it, then you have to put to both sides, then you could go ahead. If you think you're not going to remember, you could do this method until you remember. So now I'm going to rewrite. I have my x squared minus my 10x, and I'm going to plus. What is my b? My b is 10. So 10 divided by 2, and I'm going to square that. Don't forget your square is equal to 15 plus the same thing I'm going to put here, right? My 10 divided by 2, and then I'm going to square it. Okay, let's simplify this. So I'm going to write back my x squared, my minus 10x, and my plus. We're simplifying. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 into 10, 5, right? So we have 5. You don't have to put the parentheses. Don't forget your square. 5 squared is equal to 15 plus the same thing here, 5 squared. 5 squared. Now I'm going to expand my 5 squared. I'm going to rewrite again. I'm going through all these steps because I want you guys to see where each number comes from. So I'm going to write my x squared again, minus 10x plus 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. and that's equal to 15 plus 25. 25 comes from 5 squared, which is 5 times 5 is 5 squared. If you notice, again, when I do my b and I divide it by 2, and then I square the answer, I get 25. So now we are up to step 3. Step 3 says factor and solve. So we're going to factor this. We're going to factor x squared minus 10x plus 25. Before I factor, I'm going to make a side note. So in order to factor this, we're going to have our x plus our b is 10 over 2. So that's basically how you're going to get to this factor here. For some of us who cannot factor it right away, we are actually x plus 10 over 2. So when we simplify, we get 5, x plus 5. Now the operation in front of your b is minus. So you're not going to put the positive, you're going to rewrite this as x minus, your minus 5. Don't forget your square is going to equal to 15 plus 25 is going to equal to 40. We're not done. We have one more step. This step left. So therefore we have x minus 5 all squared is equal to 40. What we're going to do now, we're going to use the root, right? We're going to use the root for both sides. So we're going to square root both sides. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other side of the equation. So when we square root, we have square root x minus 5 squared. This becomes x minus 5. The square root and the square cancel each other, and we now left with equal to plus and minus the square root of 40. We're not done. This may look familiar to most of you guys. We're not done. We have one more step to go. So we have x minus 5 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 40, right? So we want to add 5 to both sides because we want to have x by itself, right? Isolate x. So we're going to add 5 to both sides of the equation. So now I have my x by itself, positive 5 and negative 5, they cancels out. And that's going to be equal to 5, then plus or minus the square root of 40. And you're done. You are done. You could leave it as this. This is saying, what this right here is saying, when x is equal to your 5, you could plus square root of 40. And again, you have your x is equal to 5. Your minus your square root of 40. So this is the same thing. X is equal to 5 plus or minus the square root of 40. And this answer and this are the same. This is expanded and this is together. And there you have it. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and turn on the notification button for more videos. Thank you.